Mosconi.co.uk.
Welcome back, Champions League pool here on Free Sports, and we're around about the halfway point here of group number 3 on match night number 3. It really is all still to play for. Only one win out of our 3 matches so far. Can Phil Harrison or Sam Bircher add to that in this one? It's a really, really big match, this next one. We've had 2 draws so far and 1 win. As you can see, Rob Chilton getting the win, 4-1 against Zach Shepherd in our last match. He now holds the cards heading into his final match, which is against Phil Harrison. If Phil, for example, were to win this, it sets it up for a decider. But likewise, Sam Bircher can still really give himself a great chance if he can spring a surprise here against Phil Harrison. We spoke to Sam earlier on. He said he's played Phil a few times and he's, in his words, been given a pumping a few times as well. So it'd be nice to reverse that tonight. Neither player looked particularly happy. I think Phil least of all 4 players in the first matches tonight. Phil never really got going for a player of his enormous ability, which never seemed to settle, which is unlike a player of his experience, I guess. But this shot clock is difficult, but a shot like that just shows you what he's capable of.
Yeah, what a start! What a start to this match for Phil. That was a brilliant shot, but you are right. I don't think Phil's settled with a 20-second shot clock in the matches we've seen of him so far. Not just tonight, but in his previous shootout appearance. Just overrun that a little bit. Didn't want the yellow to travel as far up the table. Still slightly tricky with where those 2 yellows have gone. It's got an interesting group, actually, isn't it? This is the first, we'll be on group 3 now. It's the first time we've been to this far without at least one of the players being eliminated. All 4 players can still go through. Okay, Zach Shepherd would need results to go his way, but if he wins his last match, it's still a chance. No doubt that Rob Chilton will be the happier of the 4 right now, though. Lovely couple of shots from Phil. Just looked like it was going to be tricky, and all of a sudden 2 shots later, it looks routine from him again.
We talked about this a few times, but in relation to the shot clock, 20 seconds, is there anything these players can do in between games if they are struggling initially, maybe at the start, for example, as Phil was, just to get themselves more in the zone for it? It's limited time, I know, but you do have a practice table at your disposal. And anything you can do, or is it more of a mental thing?
I think it's a mental. I think the only way you can practice the pressure of playing in this sort of 20-second shootout environment, as the black goes down for Phil Harrison to get the first frame on the board. But yeah, the only thing you can really do to get used to playing with such a quick format is to go out there and play in such a quick format. It really is going to take some time to get used to that. Looks like Phil handled the shot clock better on that occasion, that's for sure, and he does take the first frame. And Stephen Jameson has popped out to catch a few words with Zach Shepherd.
Yeah, thanks, Si. Now with Zach. Zach, a strange night for you so far, I think it's fair to say. It's been an interesting one.
Yeah, I think just the lack of match practice now, lightning quick and how lovely that table's playing, just caught me out a lot, and I probably should have run the game down against Phil and I let it go, and then there I just couldn't really get into the match, and Rob played really well there, apart from towards the end, both a bit scrappy.
It's been that sort of night, hasn't it? Everyone seems to have had their own little struggles with either the table or the shot clock. for you, it didn't seem to be the clog. I know you're quite used to it at this point, but describe what it's like playing on a table that quick. It does catch you out a little bit.
Yeah, it caught me out a lot, especially with like a match practice. I missed a bar ball there against Rob as well to go 2-1, and it really just went downhill from there. But it's just really tricky on that quick table at the moment, really. But
you've had a chance now, a couple of matches to get used to that pace, and it's still all to play for. You're relying on other results, but there's still plenty in this for you tonight, potentially.
No, definitely it's been a tight group with the 2 draws. Nice to see a few draws, nice tight games, and then hopefully now get a win on the board in the last game, just see what happens. You never know.
You never know, mate. I know you're watching.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, son.
Still feeling like he's got a chance.
Red balls in play.
Zach Shepherd, that's for sure. Knows he's made a couple of mistakes, but hasn't done a huge amount wrong, and probably feels he should have more than the 1 point he's got on the board so far, but he's still in tonight's group.
Sneaky suspicions, Simon, that the most significant moment really of this entire group could be Phil Harrison clawing back to get that draw against Zach Shepherd in one of the first matches of the night, because it was a result that should have gone Zach's way, says so himself. We thought that at the time as well. Phil only scraped a point out of that match by the skin of his teeth, really. Only 1 second on the clock when he potted that final 8 ball. If he'd have ended up with 0 points there, it really would have changed the group on its head.
Absolutely. If the favourite loses his first match, then yeah, that's really going to change things quite dramatically. And it certainly would have made a big difference for Zach and where he sits in the table now, and well, everyone really. So yeah, no, it's going to. I think when we look back at the end of the night, we may well be talking about that last minute or so in that match. Chance here for Sam to get a frame on the board. Excellent pot. All the Reds do have a pocket. I think he's landed perfectly on the one to the bottom left. Just needs to be careful, because the way the black, or the way the 8 ball is, you need to make sure you have a nice angle on the last ball to be able to land nicely on it. We saw him run into trouble in his first match with that, only to pull out a couple of really good pots on the 8 ball.
Yeah, he showed us so far that he has got that clutch mentality about him. When the chips are down, he played a couple of really terrific pots to win frames in his opening match.
Wanted to make sure he finished low on this red, but he's possibly a fraction too low. Going to use the yellow. Used it well.
Really nice, and this should be 1-1. And the thought of, playing Phil Harrison won't phase Sam. He's played him quite a few times before. Despite being so young, he's experienced in the pool world, that's for sure. And you can see a little smile as he sat down. He's delighted with that, as well he should be. He's well in the match here.
Yeah, Sam strikes me as the sort of player that really likes to take it on against the best players in the world. He's not afraid to beat the best players in the world, and I think that's a really good asset to have.
You make no mistake, this is one of the best players in the world. Just look at that resume, almost unmatched, really. And as we alluded to earlier, such a wonderfully respected player for so many different reasons. And I know he's a player that you yourself personally have always admired.
Yeah, he's one of the most well-respected players in the pool world. He really is. Everyone seems to sort of respect the way he plays the game and goes about the game. And yeah, he really is. He's very much in the conversation, with a few other players, of one of the best players around right now.
Sam with the break here after both players have taken a frame off the opponent's break. It's a clever shot.
Yellow balls in play.
Sam looks comfortable. He mentioned he himself struggled with the pace of the first match, but he seems to have settled pretty well.
Yeah, he did well in that previous frame. Really worked out the finish nicely. Another frame here where it needs working out. It looks easier than it really is. the way he's lining this up, I think he is on this yellow to the right centre. So he's done well.
Yeah, he just popped his hand up at the end of the last shot, which suggests to me that it wasn't fully as played, but you can take every one of the balls you can get when you're playing a player like Phil Harrison. Might just have ran aground here, though. I don't think he's moved far enough across to be able to see that yellow at the top of the table. I don't think he's on one of these at the bottom.
Yeah, finished a bit no man's land, hasn't he? It was difficult because he was hampered queuing by the red. Hard to control the cue ball as he wanted.
We could see that yellow at the top of the table. Well, it's not necessarily done and dusted this frame. I was chalking off his chances there, but his body language sold us down the river. He's still very much on for it. Needs a couple of big pots, though, and that's what he has shown. He's got in the locker. Needs a couple more.
I think he was playing a cannon on that red. I think he was just trying to use the red to hold the cue ball nearer the centre of the table. It slid by it, making this very tough. Not just the pot, but the cue ball as well.
I'll tell you what, he deserves better. It's a phenomenal pot. And to have left yourself full ball snookered on the black from there is just bad luck. And Phil Harrison here with a great chance now to come in, undo all the good work that Sam's put in this frame. This is a weird, tough one to take.
Yeah, really frustrating for Sam Bircher. Make a pot like that, any thinner contact on the red, and he's on the black in some way, shape or form. Catch it full ball, you're on nothing. And it's going to, or it should, cost him this frame. No issues here at all for Phil Harrison. Just has to mind his work. Frustrating as well to put all that hard work in and not get over the line in the frame. You give you not just the fact that you don't get the frame on the board, but also you give your opponent some help, you know, some confidence sat there watching, you know, your opponent's making plenty of good shots and all of a sudden you get gifted an opportunity. You feel like you're always in with a chance. Those players that can be clinical, and we saw a very clinical performance from Aaron Davies a couple of weeks ago. It really does put the pressure on your opponent.
Phil Harrison leads by 2 frames to 1. Not the sort of player you can afford to give freebies to. Just ask Zach Shepherd.
Absolutely.
Good player in his own right is Sam Bircher, the youngest of all 4 of our players here tonight. Just 24 years of age. Twice a UK Tour runner-up and plenty of local tour wins as well. And all the proper players playing those as well. They're no small feats winning those sort of county events. Anyone who's played in them will tell you just how competitive those standards can be. And as he mentions, he's played Phil on a few occasions, had a couple of defeats. He'd love to just punch the nose of the world champion, wouldn't he?
Phil Harrison to break, leading 2 frames to 1.
Former world champion, I should say. Phil's break is a really, really good one. Might run into the sort of age-old problem of not having an opening shot despite having a great break. He could just sneak that red into the middle pocket. Well, that's a moment of frustration. Sam couldn't sneak through to the potting angle of that yellow. I think he just wanted to free it up, but see there, as soon as Phil played that shot, he wasn't happy with how he'd left it, and now he's made things difficult for himself because this is tricky. It's a clever shot from Sam. Anytime you're having to get yourself out of a snooker attempt or play a safety shot, if you can move one of your bad balls in the process, it is always a good thing. Yeah, I'd have wanted that to drop though. That's not like him.
Still holds an element of control in this frame because the reds are really tricky. But if that had dropped, it would have been a great chance.
Extension called.
Well, he's picked a gap here. That's brilliant. This red does go to the bottom left pocket. It didn't look like it did from this main camera angle, but Phil's found a way to land on it. What a shot that was. And there's only 2 shots to go. I was saying this looks like a really tricky table on reds. All of a sudden, they're laid out beautifully. I have to say, when Sam missed that yellow to the bottom right corner, I didn't think it was going to do too much damage, but it looks like it's going to cost him the frame.
And that's what it can do against a player as good as this. Should be 3-1. Just Phil Harrison almost the ball by the horns really in this match, and he's shown us some real quality. Top frame from Phil Harrison. Sam has not done an awful lot wrong at all in this match and finds himself 1 frame away from defeat.
Yeah, he's, you know, the fine lines in pool, it really is, especially at the highest level. You miss 1 pot, that cost you. It really can. Another day, Sam could be in front in this match.
It was a superb bit of play. Superb bit of pattern play in particular.
It was that 1 shot, wasn't it? The gap was tiny, the pot was
Frame
difficult.
5.
He landed absolutely, there was so little margin of error to land on the ball to the bottom left corner, and he found it. Makes all the difference in the world.
Needs a good break, does Sam Bircher. Somehow he's not made a ball. And that could be the moment where the game just slips away from him. Because it's a really good spread, it's a really good break. And how one of those yellows haven't gone hit the top of the table, I'm not sure he'll ever know.
He had a red hit a couple of jaws as well in the centre of the table, so it's just hit a number of jaws. It really is unfortunate, and look at the split as well. Decent opportunity now for Phil Harrison to wrap this match up. Okay, the black hasn't got an open pocket. Not in the worst position for a double. All the yellows have a pocket. Just the route around the table. Yellow nearest the triangle area, still tricky-ish to land on. And of course, needs to make a decision on the black.
It's a lovely touch.
Cannon the ball he was trying to cannon. It's, I wouldn't say as played, because he wanted to catch it a little bit fuller, because if he catches it fuller he might have left the angle to develop the black. Now he may well have to leave the black as a double, but still a nice little cannon. He may score across to get to the cue ball to the right hand side. Try and get the 8 ball up into the top left corner. Possibly. Yeah, just coming to have a look now.
The one thing you would say, and it's an ominous thing to hear if you're Rob Chilton in particular, is Phil starting to look comfortable.
No, for sure.
Sam's not really done an awful lot wrong in that match. He's been beaten 4-1.
Phil Harrison.
Tough one to take for Sam Bircher. But that was much more like the Phil Harrison that we know and love. Terrific performance with some terrific pull.
Yeah, not a lot wrong there for Sam, just the odd missed pot here and there, but definitely the best match we've seen from Phil in a shootout. A couple of reverse dishes, which, you know, really starting to put some pressure on Sam, and yeah, very good performance, and that's why he came into tonight's group as the favourite.
Well, Sam Bircher will stay with us. He'll be up next when we come back with the Champions League pool.
This programme is brought to you by vinny.co.uk.